So a lot of people have asked me how I became a pilot, and I thought it would be cool to make this video to walk you through how I did it and share what I would do differently if I were starting from zero. And I'm also going to give you a bird's eye view of the entire process so that way you know what to expect. This is what I tell everyone. When you have a big dream or project, you have to break it down into achievable steps. If not, it can become a bit overwhelming. So if you're thinking about becoming a pilot, the first step is to get your first-class medical certificate. Before investing any time or money into flight training, you need to know if you're medically fit to fly. And this is very easy. All you have to do is go to medexpress.faa.gov and fill out the application. When going through the application, you will see different options, including third, second, and first-class medicals. Even though you don't need a first-class medical to start flight training, if your goal is to work as a professional pilot, I recommend you get it from the get-go. At the end of the application, you will get a code. Make sure you take a picture of it or write it down. And next, you will need to find an AME or aviation medical examiner in your area. And for that, you can visit designee.faa.gov and schedule an appointment. The doctor will review your application, do some tests, and you will walk out with a first-class medical. With your medical in your pocket, there are 5 avenues to becoming a professional pilot. The best choice for you depends on your circumstances, including financial situation and the time that you can commit to flight training. But these are the 5 avenues: college, Part 61 training, Part 141 training. You can join a flight club, or you can also buy your own aircraft. Let me cover each avenue, starting with college. Personally, I'm not a big fan of college. I've met too many pilots with massive debt, and I'm talking about over $200,000, and most of them regret it. Most airlines, cargo companies, and Part 135 charter operators don't even require a college degree anymore. So I personally don't see the value in it. I also heard people say that having a college degree can be a good backup in case you lose your medical due to an illness or accident. And yeah, this can happen, but I personally don't think that should be the reason why you attend college. Because once you get your ATP or Airline Transport Pilot Certificate, you can get college credits for it. So in the unfortunate event that something happens to you and you can't fly anymore, you can use your ATP and they'll give you college credits for it, and you can use it towards a college degree at that point, and at least you wouldn't be starting from zero. Now, I don't want to be completely negative about it because there are some benefits to attending college. And if you have scholarships or the financial means, it can be an awesome option for you. For example, if you attend a college with an aviation program authorized by the FAA, you'll be able to obtain a restricted ATP license with only 1,000 hours if you hold a bachelor's degree, or 1,250 hours if you hold an associate's and meet specific requirements. And this will allow you to get hired faster by regional airlines. For example, I never qualified for a restricted ATP because I didn't go to college. So at the time, if I wanted to go to the airlines or a regional airline, I would need to build my time up to 1,500 hours instead of 1,000 or 1,250. But at the end, I ended up flying for a private jet charter company instead. So if this is an option you're exploring, make sure you review the FAA's institutional authority list and make sure you choose a college from that list so you can qualify for the reduced hours. I'll have a link in the description section so you can download it. Now, let's cover Part 61 and Part 141 flight training. Part 61 flight training provides a more flexible, less structured approach to obtaining your pilot certificates. If you have a job and you can't study and train full-time, this could be a great option for you. Also, it gives you the flexibility to pay as you go. For example, I only flew once a week since that's all I could afford at the time. So Part 141 training is more structured and an excellent choice if you're trying to become a professional pilot as fast as possible, since these structured programs often have lower minimum flight hours compared to Part 61. For example, at Hillsborough Aero Academy, their commercial pilot certificate training program is only 35 hours and 120 hours of flight training. And under Part 61, you would need 250 hours to get your commercial pilot certificate. So with what I know now, and if I could go back in time and start all over again, I would go with Part 141 training and commit to it full time. Because under 61, it took me a long time to get to where I am now. That's on me because I decided not to get in debt. But if you have the means, you could go as fast as you want under 61. But for context, I started flight training when I was 17, and I didn't start working as a professional pilot until I was 25. And for example, I've flown with a couple of pilots who are only 20 and 21 who attended a fast-track training program such as the one provided by ATP or L3 Harris. And they're making $70,000 a year and building jet time, which is very valuable. Shit, at their age, I was still working on my instrument rating and making like $20,000 a year. But usually these flight schools will require you to put money up front or get a loan. So I'm not a big fan of that, but knowing that if I started at 17 going to one of these programs and by the time I was like 20, 21, I could have a job flying a private jet, I would take that loan. Now, if you want to look into Part 61 or Part 141 training, I recommend you go to your local airport, see what flight schools are in the area, and ask them, what programs they offer. Another great option is to join a flight club or to purchase your own aircraft. Before doing this though, I do recommend that you get your private pilot certificate first, so that way you like it and you're committed to doing this. So how a flight club works is that you purchase a share of the aircraft, and then you usually have to pay monthly dues and you pay a reduced hourly rate compared to a flight school. And then this money is used to pay for the maintenance, engine overhauls, and other associated costs with the aircraft. And usually flight clubs have different airplanes that you can choose from as well. And once you're done with your training, you can keep your share or you can actually sell it as well and get some of that money back. And usually flight clubs have a couple of flight instructors that you could use for your flight training. Another option is to purchase the entire aircraft. And you would want to look for a fixed gear or fixed propeller airplane such as a Piper Warrior or Cessna 172. You don't want to get a complex airplane when you're starting out. Something like that will work very well. And once you have the airplane, you can find an independent flight instructor to teach you how to fly the airplane. And I also talked to other pilots who bought an airplane without even having a private pilot certificate. They just bought the airplane, got all their certificates and completed all their training, and then they sold the airplane and made money on top of it because it appreciated in value. And you could also lease it back to a flight school in your area and offset some of your ownership cost when you're not using it. All right, so now that you know your options, I want to cover what you can expect once you start flight training. And just be advised, some flight schools might do it in a different order, but here's how it usually goes. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to get your private pilot license, then your instrument rating, then your single engine commercial. And at this point, you'll probably have somewhere around 250 hours. I mean, it depends whether you did 61 or 141. But even though you have a commercial license, you're not very marketable yet. You have to build it up to 1,500 hours if you want to fly for the airlines and you don't have a college degree, or around 900 hours so you can apply for a Part 135 charter company flying private jets. So with your single engine commercial pilot's license, you can become a flight instructor or try to get a job flying a single engine piston aircraft to build that flight time. So now that you have a time building job, whether that is flight instructor or you were able to find maybe a job flying skydivers or doing surveying, during that time, you should work on getting your multi-engine commercial certificate with an instrument rating. And with this certificate, in about 900 hours, you could start applying to Part 135 charter companies if that's something that you want to do, fly private jets. And if you want to go to the airlines and you do not have a college degree, you'll have to build it up to 1,500 hours. Like I said, if you went to college and you attended one of these FAA authorized programs, it could be 1,000 hours or 1,250 hours. And also, in order to get to the airlines, you will need 25 hours of multi-engine time, just so you know. Now, once you get hired, so you're going to get hired, depending where you go, somewhere around 1,000, 1,200 hours, something like that. The cool thing is that at this point, that's it. You don't have to pay anymore. And it's a pretty good feeling because at this point, the company is going to take over your training cost. So usually the first thing that you're going to do is get a type rating. And just so you know, airplanes that weigh more than 12,500 pounds require a type rating. So if you go to a regional airline flying a CRJ Well, those obviously weigh more than 12,500, so you got to get a type rating. If you go to a charter company and you're flying like a Learjet or a Citation, whatever the case may be, usually those weigh more than that. So this training usually happens at the airline's training facility, flight safety, or CAE. And once you're at that point, when you're getting your type rating, make sure you watch my video on how to prepare for a type rating check ride. So I'm going to put a link up in the cards and in the description. And if you remember, once you're at that point, watch it because I do give a lot of value in that video. And also at this point, you only have a commercial license and you need to get your ATP in order to, become a captain and, progress in your career. And in order to get your ATP, you'll need to attend ATP CTP school. And that is something that your company is also going to pay for. And once you get your ATP license, that's it. Like there's no more licenses. So all you can do is move up in the company, from an FO to a captain, and obviously move to flying bigger and better airplanes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found the information valuable, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. Also, any comments would be greatly appreciated. Let me know which path you're choosing to become a professional pilot. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. But apart from that, if you want to see more content that is related to aviation, whether that is becoming a pilot, becoming an aircraft broker, or any other aviation related topics, subscribe to the channel and I will see you in the next one.